guys, it's Kat, and today's video is just a small collection of stories having to do with sleeping in public. And if you're anything like me, growing up in the younger years, like middle school and before that, it was ingrained in you that you just don't sleep in public because people take pictures of you, post it on MySpace, because that's how long ago that was, and or just play pranks on you. Once I had someone like put food in my mouth while I was asleep, which is dangerous because they could choke on that, so don't do that. It's not funny. But just a variation of things and reasons why you never fall asleep in public. And this is sort of a collection of story times and a progression of how I went from, like, no matter how tired I was, I just would not fall asleep in public unless I was dying, to falling asleep next to strangers on the bus. Okay, so I think it about started in high school, because in high school I was pretty busy. I was on dance team and in the marching band, which meant I was at school like at 7 a.m., which we didn't start till 9, like 5 days a week, and I was staying late on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes we had Saturday rehearsals, so I was pretty busy. And sometimes, because like I feel like as a band kid, you understand if you were in band, you just get really comfortable around each other. And so by like junior, senior year, especially senior years, when I remember for sure that if I had like 5 minutes to like sit down and take a nap, I would just lay in the middle of the floor on the band room, like hard floor, just like flat on my back and just fall asleep. And people used to think that was so funny, and I was like, no, like, you don't get it. I'm tired. If I can sleep, I will sleep anywhere. And so it started where we would be like, we'd have a performance. They say be there at 6, and you know it starts at 7, whatever. So I get to the band room, and you know, attention or roll call wasn't called until 6, but I would get there like 15 minutes early. I would just lay on the floor in the corner and just go to sleep, because if you have 5 minutes, why would you not take it to go to sleep? Then next, of course, the sleeping in public got a little more interesting when I got into college, because I'm sure you hear all over the internet and see all the memes, or you're in college yourself, and see about how college students are always tired, will sleep anywhere. And that's actually, like, I found that to be pretty true, because it started with just, oh, in the band room, or this or that. Because I was comfortable, I'd kind of be like, whatever, even if I don't know everybody here, I'll go to sleep, take a little nap. But then in college, you get to the extra level of, we have rooms in the library you can rent, like study rooms, they call them study carrels, and just if you want to study and just have like 4 walls around you and not be distracted by people. So all the time, and you could have those for up to 6 hours at a time. I would just go, I don't think I ever had one for quite that long, but I would have classes that were like 2 hours apart, which was like, I didn't really want to drive home and drive back because it was like a waste of gas. And so I would stay there to eat lunch, but then sometimes I had time between classes, and if I had stayed up all night studying for a test the night before, I would just get one of these study carrels. And each room, it was pretty small, and when you walk in, there was like a little countertop and then a chair, and then just like brick wall, that's it. And so I would like push the chair back and get under the countertop, like flat on my back or like on my arm, and just take like a 20-minute nap in between classes, which I guess, I don't know if that counts as in public, because people could definitely walk by and see you, but at least I wasn't like in the library. But what brings me to my next one that was a little bit more embarrassing was like sleeping on a park bench, I was before class one day. I had an evening class, so I was just kind of there all day and didn't really have time to go home or didn't want to waste the gas. So before my class started, I'd be so tired, and the class went till like 9 o'clock at night, so I'd want to be awake mostly. And so I found this park bench that was like in the back by the science building, where there's like a service road that sometimes the bus comes on, but usually it's pretty dead. And I would just curl up like on my head on my backpack and just like take a little nap on that park bench before class. And I mean, nobody ever said anything to me, so. Alright, and that brings me to one of my favorite like sleeping in public stories. So a couple summers ago, like summer of 2016, I went to Europe for school for about 5 weeks, and if you want to know more about that, let me know, because I have endless stories from that. But anyways, we had like 2 weeks where we were in class, we had a week off, and then 2 weeks in class. And in the week off, you were like set free to go wherever you want, and they gave you like a free Eurail pass so that you could like get somewhere and then get back. And so luckily I had made, because I didn't know anybody on this trip like beforehand, I just met them on the trip, which was kind of scary, especially for me. But luckily I had made some friends, and our week off we said, let's go like hiking in the Alps, and they had found the city in France called Chamonix. They were like, we're gonna go there. I found like on Airbnb like a place we can stay, and if we split it all, because there was 4 of us, yeah, then it wasn't that expensive. So we had this place ready. So, you know, we finished our first class, we were in Paris, and they're all like, be free, go wherever. So we got on a train to go, but of course it was a different train because there was a lot of strikes going on at the time. So it was a different train than we had originally expected, but it was going the same place, just different route. So when we were on the train, which I was always like I was already like super fatigued and tired, but for some reason, like on the train, I was like wide awake. I think it was because I was like eating a bunch of chocolate or something, so I was just wide awake. And we were riding around, and then we realized we missed, because it was a different route than we were expecting on our like itinerary, we missed our stop to get off. So all of a sudden we're like, okay, well let's get off here and figure out where we are. And so we got off the train, and somehow, which to anyone who lives in America, you're like, how does this even happen? Because there's no checking of passports or anything, but we were like in the wrong country. Because we were like, someone's like, guys, I think we're not in France. And we're like, come on, like, no one even checked our passports when we got off the train. They were just like, oh, hey, like, there's no way you accidentally end up in the wrong country. And then we were like, okay, well, they're still speaking French, so does that help? And then we looked outside, and the flag was a big plus, and we're like, oh, hey, we're in Switzerland. So that's always a fun story, that I accidentally ended up in Switzerland. So we're like, okay, let's try to figure out how to get to Chamonix and where we're going. And so we ended up having to take like 3 buses and another train to get to Chamonix. And yeah, it was like a couple buses, and then the last ride was a train, and then when we got there, we were on the train. But on one of those buses, like, of course, we're like, not like stressed, like it was kind of funny, but we were like trying to figure out where we were going so we would get there by the night and not have to like camp out at a bus station or something. And because we were already like sitting on the side of the road with all of our luggage, going like asking people like, how do we get back to France? Like, how do we get to this place we're trying to go? And then finally, I think it was the second bus ride we were on, I was so tired from all that craziness, and like on the bus, it's like you can't be like, over here I'm always like, sit by a friend, be with someone I know, but like you couldn't be choosy about seats, because we were lucky there was even an available seat on the bus. So I just sat, we did not sit by each other, like I sat next to a stranger. I was in the aisle seat and he was on the inside, and I just sat there, which again, for me is such a big deal, because social anxiety, like that was huge for me, that I would just go sit with no one I know because that was the only seat they had on the bus. So I sat there and I kind of leaned back, and then it just hit me that I was like, I was tired. I was so tired. And so I must have just like conked out, because then all of a sudden this man is like kind of tapping me on the shoulder. He's like, excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. And I'm like, huh? And my eyes kind of drift open, and one of my friends from like 4 aisles up is going, Catherine, move. And I look, and this poor dude who, which again was normal because we were in France, didn't speak any English, was trying to like get my attention and be like, excuse me, because I was like sprawled out, like blocking the aisle. So yeah, I fell asleep next to a stranger, and he had to like kind of like be like, excuse me, excusez-moi, and like wake me up so he could get off the bus, because I was blocking his way. So that's like, again, especially with social anxiety, that's a whole nother level of like, I was so tired because I just fell asleep next to a bunch of strangers on the bus and blocked the poor guy's way to get out, and then didn't wake up when he first tried to wake me up so he could get off the bus. So that's it for now for my always being tired and sleeping in public stories. If you have some of your own, let me know down below so we can all laugh at each other for always being tired. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.